What if I told you that your financial success has less to do with what you know about investing and more to do with how you behave? We tend to think that wealth is the result of complex analyses, mathematical formulas, and market strategies available to only a few. However, Morgan Housel debunks this myth to present us with a much deeper and more accessible truth. Money management is, for the most part, a matter of psychology. This is not just another summary. It's an invitation to a journey of financial self-discovery. Over the next few minutes, we'll not only break down the most powerful ideas from each chapter, but we'll also offer you a practical guide to implementing these lessons in your daily life. You'll discover why people with no financial training achieve immense wealth, while business geniuses end up ruined. The key, as you'll see, isn't intelligence, but emotional wisdom. We encourage you to watch this video to the end, as each section is a piece of the puzzle that will allow you to build a healthier and more prosperous relationship with your money. Below is a summary of the book in 10 chapters. Chapter 1. Nobody is crazy. Our financial decisions, however strange they may seem to others, make perfect sense to us. This is because our view of money is shaped by our personal experiences, which represent a tiny fraction of everything that has happened in the world. For example, a person who grew up during the Great Depression will have a very different risk aversion than a young person who has only known a bull market. Neither is crazy. They simply operate from very different realities and lessons learned. An investor from the 1980s couldn't conceive of a retirement plan without pensions, while a millennial relies almost entirely on their own savings and investment capacity. Based on what has been expressed in this chapter, you should consider being more empathetic toward the financial decisions of others and, more importantly, understand the origins of your own beliefs about money before judging them. Chapter 2. Luck and risk. Luck and risk are two sides of the same coin. We tend to attribute our successes to effort and our failures to bad luck. But in everyone's life, both factors play a much more important role than we like to admit. Bill Gates, for example, was extremely fortunate to attend one of the few high schools in the world that had a computer in 1968. This coincidence was as decisive as his genius. On the other hand, Kent Evans, a close friend of Gates and with similar potential, died in a mountaineering accident before graduating, a clear example of the tragic role of risk. Based on what this chapter has said, you should consider focusing less on individual success stories or failures, which are often the product of extreme luck or risk, and more on general patterns applicable to the majority. Chapter 3. Never enough. Greed can lead people who have everything to risk it for something they don't need. Social comparison is a dangerous driver that pushes us to push the goal of enough further and further away. Rajat Gupta, former CEO of McKinsey, was already a millionaire. But his desire to become a billionaire led him to commit insider trading offenses that destroyed his career and reputation. He didn't know how to stop when he had more than enough. Based on what this chapter has said, you should consider defining what enough is for you. Having a clear goal will protect you from taking unnecessary risks that jeopardize what you've already built. Chapter 4. The wonder of compound interest. Compound interest is such a powerful force that we often underestimate its potential. It's not about earning the highest returns, but about earning consistently good returns over a very, very long period. An example of this idea is Warren Buffett. 95% of his fortune was generated after he turned 65. His real secret is not just being a great investor, but having been a good investor since he was a child. His skill is time. In line with what has been expressed in this chapter, you should view time as your greatest ally. Start saving and investing as soon as possible, no matter how small the amount, and let time work its magic. Chapter 5. Getting rich versus staying rich. Getting money and keeping money are two different skills. The first requires taking risks, being optimistic, and putting yourself out there. The second requires humility, fear, and the ability to not ruin what you've built. History is full of lottery winners who lose everything in just a few years. Some know how to get rich overnight, but they lack the survival and savings mentality necessary to stay rich. Based on what has been expressed in this chapter, you should consider adopting a financial survival mentality. This involves being paranoid about the possibility of losing everything and ensuring that no single risk can knock you out of the game. Chapter 6. Tails Win. In many areas of life, and especially in investments, a small number of events are responsible for most of the results. The art market is a great example. The vast majority of works of art are worthless. A handful of masterpieces by artists like Picasso or Da Vinci account for most of the total market value. The same is true of venture capital investment portfolios, where a few successful companies more than offset the numerous bankruptcies. These ideas tell us that it's okay to make mistakes and have investments that don't work out, as long as some of your bets turn out to be big winners. Diversification allows you to expose yourself to these positive tales. Chapter 7. Freedom. The greatest intrinsic value of money is its ability to give you control over your time. Being able to choose what to do, when to do it, and with whom to do it is the greatest dividend that wealth can pay. For example, a high-paying job that requires you to work 80 hours a week and leaves you with no time for your family or your passions may make you feel less rich than a job with a lower salary, but greater flexibility and autonomy. The above should lead us to consider that our primary goal in accumulating money should be to buy our freedom and autonomy. It's not just expensive things. Chapter 8. The man in the car paradox. When we see someone driving an expensive car, we don't usually think, how cool is that person? Instead, we think, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. We use the wealth of others as a reference point for our own desire to be admired. We admire the Ferrari, not necessarily the driver. People strive for luxury goods to earn the respect of others, but this respect is fleeting and rarely directed at the person, but at the object. This chapter leaves us with an important message. True wealth is what you can't see. Deep down, people are more impressed by humility, kindness, and empathy than by material possessions. Chapter 9. Wealth is what you can't see. Wealth is the income you don't spend. It's the expensive cars you don't buy, the diamonds you don't acquire. Wealth is the flexibility and financial options provided by the money you've accumulated, not the money you've spent. We may see a person with a $100,000 car and assume they're rich, but the reality may be that this is the only evidence of their wealth. In contrast, a person with a modest car could have millions invested in invisible, but much more powerful wealth. So don't forget that it's healthier for your finances to build invisible wealth through saving and investing, rather than seeking external validation through visible spending. Chapter 10. Save money. Saving is the gap between your ego and your income. You don't need a specific reason to save. Life is full of surprises, and saving is your protection against uncertainty. You don't need a specific goal like buying a house to start saving. Saving simply to provide a cushion for the unexpected is one of the smartest financial decisions you can make. In short, this chapter invites us to consider increasing our savings rate, as it is a factor much more under our control than market returns. In conclusion, your financial future is in your hands. The psychology of money leaves us with a deeply optimistic and liberating message. You don't need to be a financial genius to achieve financial security and independence. What you need is to cultivate a conscious and thoughtful relationship with money. It's about understanding your own biases, controlling your emotions, and focusing on what truly matters in the long run: freedom, security, and peace of mind. Wealth is not a race against others, but a personal journey of self-discipline, patience, and perspective. By applying these lessons, you will not only be building a more prosperous future, but also equipping yourself with the wisdom to fully enjoy it. The power to build the life you want isn't in the markets, it's in your mind. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe for more learning.